welcome back to the Homes Podcast, episode 11. We're here to, your two favorite hosts in the Capital Region, David and Jerry.
That's right.
Always interviewing the professionals in the Capital Region. And today we have a special guest. I think I say that all the time. Every week is a special guest. Thanks to Maurice finding everyone that we're interviewing. She's a graduate of UA, a mom, a cheerleading coach, vice president of various networking groups. I also saw there you were treasurer of the Women's Council of Realtors as well. I don't know if you're actively doing it or...
2019.
Okay. Kadijiah Johnson.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Hey.
So since 2019 and still active, or you did it during
No,
the
I did
year?
it in 2019.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So, graduated from U Albany. Hey, Great Danes.
Yes,
I always
me too.
shout us out.
Me too. UA, you know.
Exactly. I'm a mom of two. I've been in real estate for the last 6 years now. I kind of moved more so into finding different ways of how to, bring real estate to a different generation, right? So that's where I got into, really wanted to educate in the youth about real estate. So that's what I'm here to talk about today. But I'm very community based. I do a lot of things in the community. Earth Day was a few days ago. So that was a great time, just, spending time with other organizations and, helping them make our earth better. So very community based or organized based, very family based too. So yeah, very happy to be here.
I like it.
Happy to have you. Cool.
Yeah, thank you. I guess prior to real estate, what did you do before? Let the people know what was life like for Kadijiah Johnson prior to real estate.
Do we have a few hours?
Yeah.
So to make it quick, so once during being at UA, I did internships. So I am a huge advocate for internships. I'm a huge advocate for mentorships too. So I did internships. I absolutely loved it. Once I graduated from UA, I actually worked for the state. So I was a state worker. And I loved it at that time. It was fantastic. And, there was one day I will never forget. It was one day when one of my coworkers walked up to me and she was like, "Oh, my gosh, you got in the state so early, 40 more years and you'll be able to retire." Yeah. And I'm looking at her like, I'm horrified.
Yeah.
That was a reality check.
Yeah.
Yes. I was literally horrified. And that's when it was just like, oh, I got to get out of here. I said, I can't sit here for 40 more years. That's not what I want to do. So slowly but surely, I started to feel like a robot. I felt like, I have this 4-year degree. I'm close to $40,000 in debt. And my managers are asking me to, print a piece of paper. And I'm like, this isn't making any sense here,
For 40 years.
Yes, for 40 years. Ooh, yeah, literally for 40 years. So that's when I was like, what, I gotta find something different, and that's where, real estate ended up falling into my lap. And it's so funny because even with real estate, I said no. I said no for close to a year. I had, my best friends were in real estate and they kept, hey, you should be in real estate, your personality, your clients would love you. You would do so well. And I was just like, no, why? What is wrong with you? Why would I want to do that to myself? That's not what I wanted to do. So there was a time where I had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew it wasn't working at the state, but I also thought it wasn't real estate either. So I was stuck. And then all of a sudden, this is hilarious. All of a sudden, one of my best friends, he started sending me his commission checks. And I was like, oh.
Do I get a piece of that?
Oh, man. I was like, how does that work? You know? So it was really between just the control of how much money I can make. But really what was the icing on the cake for it was time freedom. The fact that I was able to control my time because, again, having a family, I wanted to be able to be at the soccer practices and the softball games and stuff like that. So what career was out there that would allow me to be there for my family where I can put in their schedules first and then put my career around their schedules. And that's when real estate really made sense. But I fought it. Like, please don't think I went looking for it. Don't think that, like, you know what I mean? Like, I fought it for a very long time. And then when I finally went for it, I think I got my real estate. I got my real estate license probably in a month and a half.
Good.
I was not playing. Yeah. Once I like focused on it, I was dedicated, and it was something I really wanted. I went for it.
Yeah.
I really was. Isn't that
Wow.
hilarious?
I mean,
interesting about that too is a lot of people don't think they have a right to change their mind about their careers. Like you find out with a lot of students who go to college, they're like, oh, I have to finish out my degree in this. But for a lot of us who say you don't go to school, like you're like, well, I gotta do something to get a check each month in order to support myself. So that's all you end up doing. And then one day you look up and you're like, there's got to be something else.
yeah.
But that fear, or even just having that pattern of always doing the same thing,
Right.
you know, but then when you look at a lot of different types of careers, so I thought about real estate. I said, hell no. So, but the main reason was because I'm like, I'm not going to show a house in the snow. Like, this is never going to happen.
That was the only reason?
Only reason.
Wow.
Not showing a house in the snow. Sorry. Won't be me.
Yeah, I think
Not
Maybe
at all.
Kadijiah's friend should have sent you some commissions checks. So you could-
Right.
Listen, there's a guy who
Let's
used to
see.
try to get me to do funeral insurance, which did not know that that was an actual thing. But he used to send me his bank statements all the time, and he was making like hundreds of $1,000s a month. But I was just like, I feel weird about telling somebody, hey, just in case you die, let's make sure we do. Like, it's not just life insurance. Like, you're talking about literally just the funeral piece of it.
Yeah.
You know, but until I lost somebody, I didn't know how expensive a funeral was.
Yeah.
So like,
Yep.
if I had thought about it, then maybe I would have switched to it at that time. But I've noticed like a lot of people in real estate that I've met, a lot of people who are in banking that I've met, like their degrees have nothing to do with any of those.
Yeah. yeah.
It wasn't even necessary for them to do it. Like, so like they
Me
go to
too.
school for a long period of time, which I think a lot of times gives you a good baseline
Yep.
to make those decisions better a lot of times. But many people, you know, maybe that's not the right path for you. And I think that's the important thing is like a lot of the young people don't know what paths are out there.
Yes. I agree. Especially when you're going into college and you're 18 years old and
Yes.
you have to make a decision that's,
Yes.
you know, based off your future for
Yep.
40 years, more or less. I mean, who knows at 18, 22 what they're going to be doing for 30 plus years.
So especially without being in the job market first. Like
Right.
you might say this is the job I want, and then you're, you know, the first time you bust a knuckle, you know, turning that wrench, or, you know, you find out that doing certain jobs are from height, or you're stuck in a cubicle and the window is painted on the wall and not real. I mean, you could drastically change your opinion on your job path with 6 months of exposure.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
I mean, I do feel like I you know, everyone says, well, if you don't go to college right away, you're gonna lose some steps. But what if you lose 2 steps, but the steps you do take are in the right direction as opposed to something that you thought were gonna do. Right. So you know, I feel like there could be a good path change, but my first several jobs were not related to my 4-year degree. I think that's very common. You know, the generation before us says, you know, if you get a 40-year job in one place, God bless you. That's the best thing you could ever have. And we're sitting here with, you know, college debt and saying, well, if that's all I get, what a bleak outlook.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mine too. I mean, I graduated with computer science. Once I graduated, I was doing some odd jobs, but then I landed a teaching job, a teaching assistant job, and then an IT job I followed after that, and then real estate. I mean, the pandemic happened, and then real estate fell on my lap. But like how you had spoken about work-life balance, I mean, finding that in a career I think is the most important thing.
Yep.
And real estate definitely offers that to an individual.
To a degree, though, right? Because we all want a work-life balance, but so many of
As
us
your
want
phone
it.
is buzzing.
Yeah, I know. That's why. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we always want that work-life balance, but how many clients, you know, get off work at 5 o'clock and you know they've got to eat before they see a house? I've got someone I'm showing a house tonight at 6:30.
Yep.
They work remotely, but they work mountain time.
Very true.
You know, how many people come up from the city looking to move out of the city and they can only come up weekends?
Yep.
So, you know, it's interesting. So we just have to, when we set our schedule, we have to like time block. Okay, every other weekend for family, or every other Saturday for family, and no Sundays afternoon or whatever, right? But I find myself like I want to own enough rentals that I can retire early and still have youth with my kids, right? So I'm trying to go nuts now, to put that nest egg away,
Yep.
so I can see it grow.
Yep.
And it's tough for me to find that work-life balance because that thing rings all the time. I'm sure it does with you guys as well. So I'm sure it's not just me.
So
But
I tell everybody I deal with, you can call me, text me, email me at any time that you feel is convenient. If I don't respond, it's because I was busy.
yeah,
And that's okay.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
right.
That's okay.
But I think, everybody pretty much Gen X down, right? The people who are raising us are people who were so locked into work as being a significant piece of their life that, you don't feel like you have the right to take a break. You don't feel like you have the right to say no to the next client sometimes.
To that generation,
Yeah.
they had jobs that would take care of them in their old age. Pensions. It was a pension and health care before it was 401k. And then they added 401k. So there's plenty. Let's talk about unions. Unions are a great way to build a pension in retirement. For those that want to get into the trades and not, buy or sell houses. There's 3 agents here, so I mean, we're kind of cornering the market here. But hey, I know we could use some more houses built.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Let's
I
build
agree.
some more houses. Let's get that
Please.
inventory up, please. We all have the buyers for them.
Yeah.
But I really want to make sure that people understand that college isn't a necessity. We're sitting here with college degrees and we're doing something different, and we are hoping to find good people in the trades every day.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's throw that back out there. We could always use that.
Yes.
I definitely agree with that. I don't think college is for everybody. I do believe that college is an experience, though, that you don't always feel like you have the opportunity to get.
100% agreed.
Yes.
So, once you hit, like right now I'm, how old am I?
42.
33? Yeah, right?
I'm just
It's
kidding.
the lights.
I am
Don't
just
let her
kidding.
pick on you.
I'm
It's the
playing
lights.
with him.
No, I've been like that since I was 15. Couldn't tell you.
No, it's fine. I only wear gray and black.
For me now, it's like I'm not gonna live in a dorm at this age.
Yeah.
I'm too used to living on my own. So like for my niece, she graduates in May, right? So she's gonna be going to college in Atlanta. So I'm gotta go to Georgia for her graduation and stuff too. So super exciting. But she was debating on whether or not to go away to school or to stay home. Now the financial is always going to be a factor in that too. But the biggest thing is that there are a lot of young people who will take on the responsibility of adults around them, especially when you have siblings and stuff like that too, because you always think you're supposed to help. And some of us will rely on that fear simply because we don't know what different options are. So that's why I really like that mentorship is big for you and internships are big for you.
Yes.
You actually, I think last year you did the career jam with Schenectady High School as well.
I did. I'll be doing it again this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk, which is why I'm here, what we're talking about. So it's a for-profit organization. And right now we have a few partnerships. So one of our partnerships is with 1080, 1080 Education. And with them, we also partner with Career Jam. So what Career Jam is that we pretty much run a prep rally. But like, think of it as like a job fair, right? Where you have different different jobs and organizations that are coming in, and they're trying to just let you know what their work experience is. Try to hire you, stuff like that, right? So kind of like think of that scene, but then in a separate room for the youth, usually middle school and high school, we're like hyping them up. Like we're playing rap, we're playing hip hop, we're playing reggae and Afro beats, and we have different speakers who come in and talk about their careers from different walks of life and backgrounds and experiences. It's just a really good way for the middle schoolers and the high schoolers to get the experience of a job fair, but more so in a way where it's connected to them, right? They're not just walking in and going from booth to booth to booth
Yeah.
to booth. No, there's a whole separate room where we're actually having a full-blown party, but we're also learning about different career paths. We're learning about financial literacy. Like there's still that whole educational piece to it. So that's what we do. We play games, which are super fun. The kids, oh my gosh, would you believe how excited the kids get for free shirts? Oh my God. When we start
Absolutely.
like
I get-
tossing
absolutely.
shirts,
Wow.
we get wild. It's like the best thing ever. But that's what the prep rally is. And like I said, it's a good experience. We just did it last week. Was it last week? Maybe even 2 weeks ago. We just did it at the Albany Job Fair. They had one in Latham at one of the hotels there. And again, we had five middle schools. Middle schools and high schools. I think it was a mixture. And again, it was great, right? And you know, you're like, middle schoolers, why are you teaching middle schoolers about, you know, jobs, right? They have so much time to like decide that. But again, like just give them the opportunity to know what's out there. We know that they don't have to decide right here, but the more we, you know, put in front of them, the more that they know that they have the options to choose from, you know? So that's why we try to start, you know, with 1080, my partnership with them. We start at middle school with Okay, Let's Talk, my for-profit organization. I start at kindergarten.
Wow, you take it all the
I
way
don't play.
to the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually the best way, though, because it's like you constantly have phases throughout your life where you're being introduced to new things.
Yes.
And then you kind of like, I remember, which school was I in? I don't know. I moved around to a lot of different schools, especially throughout my youth. I think this one was in Raleigh, though. So they used to have, in my elementary school, they used to have, like you had to write your own bank. So they had like a little folder, and then when you did something, they gave you like this giant cutout that was like laminated of a coin or a dollar or something, so that you could understand money management a little bit more, right? And then actually a really cool thing is like when I went to Schenectady High School, is because they have the house system, which I think they brought back too. So essentially, you're almost like declaring your major in your high school. And then you can still take classes in other areas too, but they had like the School of Global Commerce, which I think now it's like business and entrepreneurship. And then at the time we had the GE House of Humanities and Cultural Sciences, which I was a member of. And then you have like the John Tell School of Fine Arts and stuff. So it's like it can get you into that mode, as opposed to I'm not just a high school student,
Right.
but I'm specialized or learning about this particular type of career path. And the more you introduce things to them, I think the best.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, think about it. Like, it's usually around that, you know, age 5 is where, you know, the adults around us are asking us, what do you want to be when you grow up? How many of us have gotten that question, or we give that question to others?
I still don't know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
I know how to get to where I can make a choice based solely on time and money freedom. And it's a long process, but when that day happens, I don't know what I'm going to choose.
I would be curious to know from each of you, if you can remember that far back to around 5, what would you have said at that time?
Ooh, I remember.
Wow.
Mine was a
Go.
teacher. I
Teacher?
played teacher a lot.
Wow. Are you a teacher now?
No.
Okay. You just
No,
full-time
oh
realtor?
my God, shout out to teachers though.
Okay.
I love teachers. I advocate for you guys. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can see you as one.
But yeah, I actually thought about it not like maybe a few months ago.
Okay.
But going back to school and then student loan debt, no, I'm good.
For me, I don't know. Maybe a baseball player was what I
Baseball
wanted to
player?
do. Yeah.
Okay.
So sports.
I've had like 7 careers, man. Like, I don't know.
All right, but 5-year-old you, what did 5-year-old you want to do?
I wanted to be a woodcutter because I like the idea of the harder I work, the more I make. And to my grandma's house, we went through the woods. I don't know if there was a river, but if we did, we were going over it and through the woods. And there was this pile of wood and a Tasmanian devil with an axe. And I remember that picture very thoughtfully, and I wanted to cut wood. And it was that, or maybe once or twice I thought about a bricklayer.
Really?
Yeah, because I like hardscape structures meant to last.
At 5 years old?
It's
You're a
bricks.
grown
It's just
man.
bricks. No, but it's Lincoln Logs. It's Legos.
Okay.
yeah.
I mean,
That's true.
when you get a set of Legos, you're playing, but you're building.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just picturing like a 5-year-old version of
I
you
wanted
just
to
like
cut
throwing an
wood.
axe.
I wanted to cut wood. I
That's-
thought
yeah.
it'd be really cool to go out in the woods and cut wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that'd be cool.
And you said the harder you work, the more money you made. So your dad was giving you like an allowance or something like that?
I don't know.
Because you were probably like the richest 5-year-old in the country.
He's just a 5-year-old lumberjack?
Yeah, yeah.
That would have been sweet. But no. But it was the idea of it.
Yeah, the idea.
It was the idea of it. We're talking about ideas. But I remember the idea that it's like the the old adage, the town has 3 ice cream shops, and one survives and takes over the other 2 places because their ice cream's better, right? Assuming everything's even, right?
Exactly.
But the idea is that if you cut more wood, you spend another 2 hours in the woods, you cut another tree, you make more money.
Of course, yeah.
Take a day off, you make no money.
Exactly.
Right.
See,
It's like-
that's a foreign concept to me because I don't understand, the supply line of wood to know how much.
Don't think about lumber.
Yeah,
Think about
that's what I'm
cutting
thinking.
firewood,
That's a good point.
right?
Yeah, but I didn't grow up with a chimney to want to know anything about. Like
I grew up
in a
with using
building.
gasoline to start fires in the backyard.
Listen,
right?
when
So-
if you're living on like the 17th floor in a building,
It's
like,
different.
You're not
It's
thinking
different.
about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
what ruined Christmas for me as a kid. Like,
Yeah.
like the thought of, wait a minute, how does Santa get in my apartment if I don't have a chimney?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I ultimately decided that my father was Santa.
I know,
Like,
the Santa Claus the movie shows us how that works.
I don't think I've seen that. I don't think I've seen that. Yeah. But when I was a kid, I was supposed to be a lawyer.
Okay.
Wow, I can.
Like I wanted to wear a suit, and I thought that was like one of the only careers you really wore suits for. 2, I wanted a briefcase,
Okay.
and 3, my grandmother said, doctor, lawyer, engineer. Which one will you like to be? And so I was like, oh, okay, those are my options. So
Here's
so
3
lawyer.
choices. There you go. Yeah.
So in some way, I didn't necessarily have the freedom of the choice because it was told to me that this was what you're gonna do until I started learning law when I was at Schenectady High School, and then I was like, this sucks. I don't want to learn it. I just like the courtroom feel. I just
You just like the fit, the suit. You need the briefcase.
Yeah, and you get to argue with people. Like I thought that was
Yeah,
fun
no,
at the
yeah.
time.
Professional arguer, right?
I realized you can argue for free though. You can argue
go on
without having
Twitter.
to go to you can go to Twitter. You can be a Twitter lawyer.
Or every
if you want
restaurant.
to.
I said no ketchup.
As long as you don't make the other person feel bad, I feel like it's fair to argue. I don't think there's a problem with discourse. But, it's interesting because you're not a lumberjack and, you're unfortunately not a baseball player.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. No, you're good.
Yeah. This just took dark.
You killed my dreams. I still was practicing to be one, but
Really?
no, I'm just
Now,
kidding.
the absolute
Imagine.
value, if you're not, it's over.
Yeah, no, you kind of do still teach, though. So I
Yeah.
feel like you kind of like bridged your childhood
I
dream
did.
with your current
I
career.
did.
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yep.
So tell me about what do you think the next steps are for you in general?
Yeah. So the next steps is definitely to create more partnerships with schools. Right now, we're really focusing on Albany School District, Schenectady School District, and Troy School District. So partnering with, their elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools, and then also partnering with organizations for funding, because I would love to get to the point where our programs are free to schools and free to after-school organizations. There's a lot of pressure on schools, and, I know that the programs that we have are very valuable to the students, and I don't want the students to get a no. Right, they do deserve to, enjoy the programs, be a part of the programs that we have, and therefore it's finding the things that's stopping them from being a part of the programs and finding solutions for them. So right now, just creating partnerships and finding those fun financial partners to help us get our programs to our students.
Yeah, you're talking to the right guy.
So Kadijiah, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you have the trades represented in your Okay, Let's Talk programs?
Yes. Yes.
So union trades are in there?
No,
or
so,
private individuals?
So right now, great question. So right now, we're mostly just focusing on real estate career fields. So in one of the programs, specifically just for high schoolers, they're meeting with other real estate agents besides me. They're meeting with real estate brokers. They're meeting with real estate attorneys and home inspectors and appraisers. And then they're also going more so as like an internship type of ordeal, but they're shadowing these professionals as they can, right? They're shadowing these professionals, whether it's to open houses or showings or inspections, for them to really get hands-on experience and seeing if it's something that they're even interested in. And then all those professionals that are partnered with Okay, Let's Talk in that specific program, they are there so that, if that scholar wants to have, go in that career field, they do offer mentorship and internship opportunities for that scholar. So right now, that's the career fields that we're focused on. We are branching into the trades such as like painting and electrician and I'm missing one. So we're getting into that, but right now we're solely focused on just like real estate career fields, because again, to your point, I mean, you said you grew up, at 5 years oldish, and you were told doctor or lawyer. I was told the same thing.
Oh, you were?
All the time. Yeah, my parents are Caribbean, and I find that a lot with Caribbean families. So it's either doctor or lawyer, and that's what I was told. How many of us was told, hey, you're going to be a real estate agent, or even knew that was even an option. Like I said, I've only been in real estate for 6 years, and that's literally when I found out that real estate was even an option. Never saw myself in real estate at all. Yeah. So again, like trying to get that information to others for them to be like, okay, I know all of these real estate career fields are an option, but I'm going to say no, I'm still going to be a police officer or a nurse. I'm down for that.
Just to speak about timing on when is a good time to be in the real estate field, I think it's always the right and wrong time to get in.
Yeah, so true.
Because no matter what the market does, we had Christine Serafini on last time, and she's like, she had 13 or 26 pending deals or something, and
like
pandemic hit, and she's like, her career's over. And for most of us who are new, that was the best three years we've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, there's a perfect example of it's always the right and wrong time. You just got to be willing to adapt, and there's rules coming out for everything that changes.
Yes.
Yep.
And there's going to be people who leave, and that someone's going to take that vacuum.
Right.
There's always the right time and wrong time to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I think specifically with this profession too, I think you have to treat it like a full-time job. You have to treat it like a career or business, because like you said, people will come and leave. But I mean, to make anything, come into fruition, whatever you want to be, you need to put the time, the effort, the energy to make that something bigger than yourself, depending on what your goals are.
Right.
That's kind of why I got into the business too. I said, it wasn't an option for me either.
Mm-hmm.
But I said to myself, I want to own property. I want to know the process, and I want to go about it the right way.
Right.
So I got my license. Still didn't think I was going to be an agent. Thought I was going to, buy properties myself. But then when I started to see the process, see everything, I was like, I can help and guide others do the same thing. And that for me was like, okay, this can be a career for me moving forward.
Right.
And that's when I put, 10 toes down, and I said, I'm doing this full time.
Right. So take that same ideology, right? Like the things that we know as real estate agents, what we do is we take our knowledge, right, and we share it to our buyers and sellers to make their transaction as successful as possible, right? So I took that same idea and moved it to K through 12, right? So one of the things that, because we keep talking about investment properties, I too own property. I own a 2-family. And one of the things that I teach my high schoolers is that, guys, hey, speaking of college, right? How many of us are going to college? Fantastic. That's great. Now, how many of us are going to be living on campus? Oh, yeah, I lived that life too, right? How much does that cost? Yeah. Few thousand each semester, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Easily, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what if instead you bought a single family home or a multifamily home, right? Parents, guardian, auntie, uncle, doesn't matter, right? But your family bought a single family home or a multifamily home in the area that you're going to go to college. You live in one room and you rent out the others to your classmates.
That's
Wow.
actually a fairly decent strategy too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Their minds blow. You can do that?
Yeah.
I actually received a call, and that's a great point, because I received a call from a buyer wanting to do that for their kid.
Mm-hmm.
Said, hey, they're going to UA. I'm looking for multifamilies in the area. Help me out. And I think, once again, it goes back to information being shared, to families and kids to be able to do something like that. Because even my family wouldn't have thought of buying another
Right.
property and trying to rent it out and make money while you're going to school. But it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had one of the realtors I know, Pearl. I don't know if you guys know Pearl. Pearl
Maybe.
Locke.
Yep.
Yeah.
So her son, for his like senior project in high school, bought a city-owned property, and basically like she loaned him the money, so then he bought the property and then paid them back, and was able to use the profit to do what he wanted to do.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did that like his senior year in high school because he was already 18.
Senior year in high school,
Yeah, so he did like
I
his
was
senior
not
year in
thinking
high school.
about-
Yeah.
Right.
investing into real estate as a senior.
Yes, and that's the
Yeah.
other thing is that like, okay, well, were we not? Because me too, right? Like, so were we not thinking of it because like we were just like distracted or busy with other things, or did we not think of it because nobody introduced it to us? We weren't aware that it was an option. And that's all I want. Like, I want this organization to be able to let the children know that it is an option for them to then decide yes or no, but not for it to automatically be a no because they have no idea that it's an option.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. It's a no if you don't know.
Right.
No, if you don't know. I
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I was doing some research on you, and I had a couple of questions here. But I saw videos you do. You do a lot of information sharing, just like myself. You put it out there for your buyers or sellers.
Yeah.
And the question came to affordability. I mean,
Yes.
today's market, low inventory, high demand, and prices keep going up. What impacts your ability to afford a home for a first-time home buyer or buyer in general? What do you think?
Yeah, so definitely financials, right? Financials is always going to play a part when you're buying a house, right? So it's always going to come down to, your credit score, how much money that you have, the whole nine. I always get the question, I'm sure you guys do too, as real estate agents, right? Is it a good time to buy? And my answer is always yes. It's always going to be yes. Well, at least for now. And the reason why the answer is always going to be yes for now is because we see that every single day the prices go up, right? So the same prices today is not going to be the same prices tomorrow, right? So if you can afford to buy a house, if you're, ready, willing, and able to buy that house, team up with your real estate agent, team up with a lender. Your lender is what's really going to help you like piece everything together and buy that house now. Interest rates. Everyone is so like crazy over interest rates. I get it. But it's so funny because my comparison to interest rates, whenever a buyer is like, well, interest rates are too high. What is the interest rate on your car?
725.
You knew that off.
Yeah.
Did you just buy a car? Or you
Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, even better one. What is the interest rate on your credit card?
On your credit card. That's my second one.
Yeah.
And they have no idea.
Yeah, it's like-
no idea.
Credit cards are like 22, right? 22
Yes,
and a
like
half.
25.
Yeah. Well,
I never get to that
mine
point,
was
but
there, but-
Ask me about my hard
Mine's a
money
four.
on my city flip.
Oh.
16%.
Yeah, baby. Well, 15 at one point. Yeah.
Okay, so
So, yeah.
it's about the average credit card rate is probably about $14.99.
Yeah, but you wouldn't generally go buy a house on a credit card, right?
You could.
Well, but there are people who have.
Yes,
Well,
yes, there have. Yes. Yep.
I'm not exactly making well into the six figures to be doing that. But
So I think I like your answer. Yes, but I think you have to cater it to everyone's position. Like, hey, I want to buy a single family house, and whatever. Well, maybe the time for your single family is not right. Maybe it's the time for that 3 or 4 family, and then in 6
Absolutely.
months to a year,
Absolutely.
then you get that single family because let's say the debt to income ratio doesn't work on a single family today. It's not like we're trying to sell you the whole package. We're trying to get you to a yes,
Right.
but maybe a yes is an A to B. Maybe it's
Right.
it's a woo there to the long distance B, and there's a couple
Yeah.
stops along the way.
yeah, is this your forever home or not?
Right.
It's usually a really big question.
That's, yeah.
They always are. We always assume they're going to be. Americans don't like the idea of the stepping stone. If you watch any HGTV, I'm 21, I've got an art degree, I just backpacked around Europe, I got robbed twice. I'm going to buy $1 million house.
Yeah.
But I want the pool in 3 I was like, where? That's a lot. And they're jumping right into, this is what my mom and dad have. I want to retire in the same house I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
We're the 1 bedroom, half bath, like tiny little stepping stones. It's because we get stuck in there now. We look at how long people stay in houses. That's grown from 7 on average to like 8.5, and the baby boomers are 13. We talked about this, I think last episode,
time, yeah.
it's like people are getting stuck because there's not these stepping stone houses, right? If anyone's going to build houses this year, it should be stepping stone houses.
Right.
800, 900 square foot, sub 1,000 for sure. Put them on a slab. Don't all the electric. Let's make homeownership super easy and affordable, but make that so there is enough starting houses so we can move to the next step, and we're not just taking the end house.
Yeah, no,
Right.
you're absolutely right, and that's where and you're right. Like a lot of buyers, they don't want to do that, right? They want to go straight to that big old single family home that they see on HGTV.
White picket fence.
Yep.
Yes, So one of the things that I talk about to try and like help them get to exactly what we're talking about is like, guys, do you know what equity is? And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, and that's when I go into the conversation of like, listen, you buy a multifamily house, you keep it for a few years, the way real estate is going, the market is going, you're going to gain a substantial amount of equity in that property. You can then leverage that equity within that property to then buy that dream home that you've always wanted. And then again, that just comes from information, them not knowing that that's even a possibility. You know what I mean? So I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Stepping stones.
We're spoiled.
Yeah. So
Yes.
We just want it all.
Yeah.
I broke it down for a potential first-time investor on a house in Amsterdam literally last night. And it was, if we have the 10% down, which we didn't qualify for the debt-to-income ratio part, but let's say we did, 10% down, if the house was, we're going to go into like 176. So it's like $24,000 to close out of pocket. Not bad for a two-family. And we broke it down. Okay, if you cash flow $500 a month, but we're just picking a number, $6,000 a year. I do everything over 10 years. It's $60,000 in income on $24,000. Not bad. Your tenants are paying down your mortgage. 10 years, about a third of a mortgage, so about 20% pay down. So you've gained 30% of the 150 that you've gained about 30% in $30,000 rather in equity pay down. And then we're at what are we at? 10% a year, 5% a year minimum right now, over 10 years. So the house has gained $70,000 in value. Your tenants have paid down $30,000. That's $100, and you've cash flowed $60,000. So you're $160,000 in 10 years on $24,000 investment. You show me where else I can do that.
Right.
Historically accurate.
Yes.
And mostly predictable.
Yes.
You show me where I can turn 24 into 150, 160, 170 in 10 years. It's outrageous.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would agree with you with everything. But
Thank you. I'll stop you right there.
what I would say is the average person, that's too much thought for them to consider.
That's
a lot
why
of
they're
times.
listening to us on this beautiful
So
podcast.
a lot of times when I engage with people who, and I encourage people to engage with me usually early in your process so that I can, piece together, okay, this is the time for your housing counseling. Let's get you in there. They're going to help you with grants if that's going to be a thing for you. Just considering what your options may be into the future. But I would tell them, I was like, why don't you break it down more budget? They were like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, who cares about your interest rate? You care about how much money you're paying a month, right?
Right.
Why don't we look at that? How much you pay for your rent? My rent is like $1,300. It's ridiculous. I'm just lazy, and I don't. So I'm like, I'm not shoveling any snow. I'm just not going to do that.
Exactly.
The last time I shoveled snow, I cut my hand. And I was just like, I don't know how weak I am or what. But, I feel like as a child, I had better callus. And maybe it's because my father just made me do stuff all the time. But, like as an adult, I don't want to do that at all.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people's thought process.
Yeah.
But also too, I mean Amsterdam. A lot of people don't want to go there too at the moment. People
Financially, where people are being motivated by affordability.
Know, yeah.
I-
And think about like how quick a neighborhood turns over, right? If you look at downtown Schenectady and you think of downtown Schenectady 30 years ago, completely different place. 20 years ago, completely different place. When I was in high school in '08, completely different place. There's been a lot of investment in areas, and that compounds over the years, right? So when people are thinking about their investments, a lot of times, or the home that they're going to buy, they're looking at it almost like on a microcosm, only how it affects you.
Yeah.
But the thing that's going to affect you the most is what's happening around you, right? If I know that, hey, the city's planning on building this down the street from me over the next 5 years, you pay attention to those things, then there's a significant amount of equity that's going to all of a sudden affect your property. So
There's your passive
Right.
equity gain. But so let's compare it to, because I did this for a different client. Yesterday was a busy day. Yesterday was a terrible long day. And, I asked how much is your rent? I see the guy. I think it was 1,100. I said, okay, so if we find you a place that you can pay less than $1,100 a month and live in it, and gain using the rent and gaining equity and the debt pay down, would that be interesting to you? He said yes, and instantly right back. Oh, but the rate. It doesn't matter the rate. We just talked about this.
Right.
If the net effect on you is ownership with less than you're paying now for rent, is that a yes? And the answer for that should be yes, as long as it's apples to apples exchange. Right? Would you swap your apartment for this house, paying the same or less, but now you get to make the decisions? Landlord's not going to raise your rent because you are the owner, right? I mean, that should be the quickest, easiest transition to say where you are and where you're from.
Right.
But then I see banks say, well, you pay $2,000 a month in rent for the last 3 years, but we won't lend you $150K to get to an $1,100 a month mortgage payment.
Oh, don't get
Whoa,
me started
that
on
happens.
this
I saw that.
topic.
So
Yeah, I came up.
I come from more of the banking background, and that is the logic that most people would use in those situations. Well, I pay this much in rent and I can afford it, but can you? Is really like on paper, you can afford it. You're just paying it, and there's a difference there. So one of the biggest things that I notice people don't consider when they go to get a loan: how much do you pay in utilities? Or have you factored that into your monthly budget? Right. If you're spending half your income on your home, you're essentially operating backwards at that point.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's why I'm more of a proponent of get that multifamily.
Me too.
Right.
Yeah.
Me too. I push hard.
Start
for
with like a
multifamilies.
2-family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what I
not
did.
saying get 3 and 4 because 3 and 4 is 3 and 4 other individuals that you're just not going to deal with. But if you're operating from that perspective, the problem is that banks lend based on your risk. And the more money that you're paying out in your overall budget, the riskier you are. And why would I give you money if I can't necessarily trust that you're going to pay me it all back? Plus, I need to sell your loan as soon as possible in order to offset the people who made bad decisions. That needs to happen too. The marketability of that loan, because when they sell them, they don't sell your individual loan. They're selling you with a package.
Right.
So everybody who just got a loan, like when you all of a sudden your client calls you like, hey, how come my bank just I made a payment to them 1 month and the next month I'm already with another bank? Yeah, it's because there's a bunch of people who are delinquent and they're going to batch them all together and sell them off so that they can get more money back for it.
I know that's called a tranche, and I know that because I watched The Big Short a dozen times.
Oh, okay.
Great movie.
There you go.
If you haven't watched it,
Yeah, I have,
it
but I don't remember that
should
part.
really upset you.
The tranche?
The tranche is a group of things that are similar. Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, but it's about the marketability of it.
Yeah.
Banks are making money off of money. So, so they have to pay a little more attention to that, and they base it on the trends and what's been happening. Especially because they're not the ones deciding their own interest rates necessarily either. They're going to make sure they make a little money off of it, but there's a realm of reason that they're not supposed to go outside of. Ultimately, like you're not going to find, like if you went to every single bank in our area, no one's going to be double the interest rate for the exact same product.
Yeah,
That's just
they're
never
around
going to
the
happen.
same.
They're usually about the same.
Yeah.
Decide if you like your bank. Decide if they have some other benefits, like if they're going to give you some discounts. Are they going to give you a grant? A lot of banks these days are now doing additional grants toward the down payment of your
Yeah.
True.
I've heard about
So,
that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the standard now. Everyone's offering it. You better step up or you won't have the clients.
Yeah, I used a grant. I bought my house, let's say 2 years ago, March 2 years ago. And I'm all about OPM, other people money. Just because I got my money don't mean I need to use my money. So yeah, I use grants to buy my house. I think I came out of pocket total for my 2-family, $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yep.
Actually, our
That's
first
impressive.
episode was with Virginia Rollins. And she was talking about stacking your grants.
Yes.
It takes a little more time for you to like research those things, which is why a housing counselor usually is best to have because
Right.
they already know a lot of those things.
Yep.
But I guess that's another example of it.
One of my lenders, Allison, who's going to listen to this, is going to tell me to tell you guys that there's of course a difference between grants and lender paid credits.
Yes.
And what we see is a lot of signs that have lender paid credits at closing. I've got almost every one of my listings that's a house on it is a lender paid credit $5,000 in Schenectady. They see the sign, they go borrow from someone else, so they're not getting that $5K. But it's literally a lender. It's just, thank you. We have bought your business long term with this $5,000.
Yeah.
Now, is that always the right choice? Maybe they're a 16th of a point higher, but if it gets you to closing where you couldn't do it otherwise, it gets you
Yeah.
to closing
Yeah.
where you couldn't have done it otherwise.
Absolutely.
It's another option. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes down to how much am I paying monthly? How much am I paying out of pocket?
Yeah. So you got lender pay credits, we've got seller concessions, we've got negotiations for inspections or anything else,
Yep.
and then we have grants. And pick your agent that knows what we're talking about. Like if you're hearing this and your agent's like, what does any of that mean? Then you're not being educated the right way. You're not being treated the right way. And what we do, we talk about teaching a lot. It's because we teach. Our clients are ready to learn most of the time, and this is what we know.
Right.
That's part of the profession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of the job, teaching as well. When it comes, I was actually thinking of a question when everyone was talking about the prices of homes. I mean, to find something decent in today's market, you're starting 200 and up. I mean, anything under two, it's almost few or none.
Dave Kellogg's mini homes coming soon. Under 200.
That's it. But
Thanks for the plug, brother.
no, but I'm just thinking a lot of people, a lot of younger folks as well, they're jumping into these luxury apartments, offsetting all the expenses with a home or wanting to do, shovel and cut their hands, things like that. And they're looking at it like, hey, if this luxury apartment is doing all these things for me, plus laundry and dryer, everything inside. I mean, what more can I ask for? Maintenance is taken care of, and I'm paying almost the price of a mortgage, but I don't have to deal with the expenditures of a home. So that's how
Yeah.
people are looking at it as well.
My brother-in-law lives in Guatemala, and he doesn't want to own. He's phenomenal. Like my sister got very lucky with brother Hugo, and freaking tremendous. And they don't own. They don't want to own. They like the idea if there's an issue, pick up the phone, and that's got to be okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Not everyone's American dream is the big house with the golden retriever, probably named Abby, because golden retrievers named Abby, as far as I can tell. and that's not everyone's dream.
Yeah.
Some people say, I don't want to own, I don't want to have the risk. If I want to move every 3 years and not have to buy and sell and have transactional costs, I can pick my stuff up and go.
Right.
And that's a pretty romantic idea too. Be like, hey, I want to see East Coast, West Coast. I want to be out of country. I want to be in country. I want to.
Buying a home is
Yeah.
a personal decision.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean,
And at least when you know the options that are out there, you can make that personal decision and be informed about it.
Yep.
And I think that's like the biggest thing, right?
That's it.
So any personal decisions you make, being able to understand what your options are, you shouldn't be choosing to rent over own your home because you don't think you can.
Right.
That's true.
Mm.
That's
I like that.
That's where the education
Well
piece
said.
comes
Right.
back.
That's the difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last question. How's the market? I mean, for you, how are you dealing with this market? How are you advising your buyers to win out multiple offers? Let us know.
Everything is negotiable, and I love that. So yeah, it's really just one of the things that I ask my buyers whenever we're seeing a house, and we're in multiple offer situation. Do you like the house or do you love the house? Right? Because depending on your answer, I'm going to suggest 2 different strategies to get you this house, right? If you like the house, right? If it checks off a few of your boxes, but you won't cry over losing it, then that's a different offer than, oh no, I love this house and I will go insane if you call me back and you tell me that I did not get the house, right? So to your point, it's negotiating, obviously, price, right? Price is always a factor, right? But it's more than that, right? Let's talk about inspections. Let's talk about appraisal. You know what I mean? Let's talk about closing. How fast can we close, or how can we match the seller's time frame of their closing? Escrow check. I love escrow checks, right? I see it all the time that there's these smaller amounts of escrow check, and I'm like, listen, we're going big, like, we're going all out,
So for our
and it
audience,
makes a difference.
what is an escrow check?
Ooh, an escrow check. So to make it simple, because I'm a simple person, I compare escrow checks to layaways. So when I was younger, my parents used to do layaways, right? Like Christmas and birthdays at Walmart, right? So you put a whole bunch of toys and clothes on hold. That's your house, right? And then you put money down to hold your layaway. You put money down to hold your house. That's how I compare it. And a lot of people are like, oh, I remember layaway. I'm like, yeah, we don't get that anymore.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah,
A security
simple.
deposit on the home that you're looking to buy.
Right.
So
yeah.
the term for our audience, so escrow check, earnest money deposit,
Good faith.
good faith
Deposit.
Yeah.
deposit.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about. And in some situations, that does matter a lot.
Yeah.
Because it tells somebody how serious you are.
Yeah, exactly. Are you just submitting this offer just to say you submitted the offer, or are you submitting this offer because you really want to buy my house and I don't have to worry about waking up one day and saying that you no longer want to buy the house? How serious are you?
So before we go, I want to make sure everybody gets a chance for their last statements. But I also want to know future events with OK Let's Talk and what you're doing with that in the Career Jam too. Okay. So I don't know if you want to end us out or should we go?
No, take it away.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to thank you guys for having me here. It was a great time.
Yes.
So, okay, let's talk future events. We do have a full schedule with 1080, which is great. I think we have 4 events coming up. So that will be at different colleges and high schools in their auditorium running prep rallies. I also have programming at a few elementary schools and high schools coming up. So I'll be able to promote those on social media. Please follow me on social media. You can follow me at Kadijiah Johnson on Facebook or OK Let's Talk on Facebook. And then from there, you can follow me anywhere else. Please visit my OK Let's Talk website. That's actually KadijahJohnson.com. So my first name, last name, no space.com, and that'll take you to OK Let's Talk. We have merch out there, so if you're interested in our merch, please let me know. We got
you're
hoodies
stepping
and
up.
bags. Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
I need some
Quality of the
merch.
Listen, our kids need to know about real estate. So however I can get it in front of them. If I need to put it in some rap songs, and I'll do just that.
Whatever it takes to educate the youth. I like that.
I like that.
Yep.
Cool.
David, any last
Oh,
thoughts?
yeah, I'm going to cheat for a second, guys. 1,000 apologies, but we're now on Spotify and Amazon Music. Channel is Open Stage Media. Find and listen to our podcast. Eventually, we'll be on the rest. But for the hundreds of people live streaming us this moment, I wish, you can actually hear us in the car. Amazon and Spotify, Open Stage Media. Find us, follow us, listen to us, and we'd love some interactions. We are desperate for interaction. So if anyone has any questions or comments, concerns, anything you want to hear or request down the road, we're relatively easy to get a hold of.
Yeah.
Numbers are everywhere. Please let us know. And we're still looking for an artist, guys. I'm going to plug this until I get someone. If anyone has pictures or paintings or doodles, if it's great if it's Schenectady based, if it's great if you're in Schenectady, I don't care. Let's put something up here. Let's talk about something new and exciting.
We need to put your face up there. Just saying that we need a new art
Yeah,
picture every week.
Are you threatening to put my face up there if someone changes it?
Don't-
What a threat. Oh, my God. That's horribly mean.
I'll buy some spray paint.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing.
But no, I think now's a great time to buy. It's a great time to sell. You can buy and sell with tenants. You got someone in the house that you want to, your offer is dependent on them staying. Let's do it. There's investors out there. There's flippers that, are going through a BRRRR strategy, and they're not sure they can sell with tenants. You can. In fact, banks like that. But don't do your tenants any disservice by not raising the rent 10 years and charging market value, because almost guaranteed that if an investor buys that property and the rents are 50 cents on the dollar, we can't raise rent to market rate instantly. You're signing an eviction notice for your current long-term friends in that unit. So a little bit of salt in that wound here, but anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
Smart about it. Consult your realtor beforehand.
Consult your realtor, and we're available.
There you go.
Here.
You got 3 of them right here.
We're out here, and we like to talk, and we like to listen. So tell us what your needs are.
Yep.
Well, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
Nice and clean, Jerry. Good at it, buddy.